I found a shoebox full of handwritten letters. Heartbroken women. Wishing you could have been better. Sheets pulled off the bed, strewn all over the floor. Long black hair, probably from the night before. Dwayne Reed bag with the handles tied. Sex toys. Plugs. Lube inside. Hundreds of Trojans. You're so broken. How'd I get caught in your double life? And that's when I realized something just don't feel right. I didn't know it was your pussy palace. I always thought it was a dojo. So what am I looking at? A sex addict? Hello, how are you? Welcome to my channel. My name is Cheer Denise. It's Wednesday, and on Wednesdays, when I'm not reading a book, I'm going to tell you a story. And today's story is very topical, okay?
Oh my God!
We're going to talk about Lily Allen, and we're going to talk about who she even is and how she found herself in this place where this week, if you were online for like 5 seconds, you would have seen a myriad of stories about how Lily Allen, the singer, has had a traumatic and horrific divorce from her husband, and she decided to memorialize it in one of the most shocking albums ever. Like 9 months ago, she and her husband, David Harbour from Stranger Things, that's where you'll know him from, had a horrific falling out. And we knew she wasn't doing well about it. She has her own podcast. She would say things here and there. She had revealed that she'd gone to rehab, like a trauma recovery rehab, and that it had been really bad. But we didn't know all about it. She was saving those gems for her album. So she wrote this album. It was released kind of by surprise. Nobody saw it coming. And let me tell you, this album is like she opened up her diary, poured it into AI, and AI spit out a bunch of songs, and then she's like, there we go. Done with that guy, you know, and she's revealed in this album, this super shocking album, the entire timeline of from when it started going south to when she decided to write an album, just laying it all out, and how she was no longer willing to cover for him. It's crazy, which is why today we're going to have a dramatic reading of the album, song by song, and we're going to listen to the arc of how this horrible thing went in Lily's words. Okay, but if you are sort of like, wait a second, I'm foggy on who Lily Allen is. Let me remind you, okay? Lily Allen was enormously famous around like 2008, 2009. And she is probably one of the first singers who got really famous from promoting herself online. That was back in the day of MySpace. And you'll remember that MySpace was before Facebook, and that's the way people are kind of connecting. And MySpace had a heavy leaning towards music and sharing songs. So she really got famous that way and was very online, and one of the first very online singers. So she blew up that way almost overnight. And she says even her own friends and family did not see this fame coming. They didn't even know she was writing songs. She wasn't even known for that. Now, if you are like me, when you were first introduced to Lily Allen and didn't know much about her background, you might have thought from her music that she'd had a kind of a grungy, difficult childhood. And in a lot of ways she did, but I erroneously thought that she had come from like a poor single mom type of family and had somehow fallen ass backwards into some producers who helped her make an album. And I really didn't think too much about it. But in my mind, she had like this really poor, difficult childhood. It was difficult, but she wasn't poor. She was born to Keith Allen and his film producer wife. And the two of them had Lily and then kind of just like left her to her own devices. I mean, she was not parented at all. And she has said numerous times that she has problems with people saying that she was some kind of a Nepo baby, because she said her parents had her and then were like hands off completely. Like she was raised by nannies and neighbors and anybody who had a chance to watch out for her. Her parents were in the clubs constantly. They were drinking constantly. Their house was full of people taking drugs all the time. So it was a really like wild, tumultuous existence where her parents didn't really care that much. By the time she was 11, she was in boarding school, and, you know, she was, wild and out at boarding school. It was a co-ed boarding school. So she's, rushing through class to go drink in the woods with boys and, service them sexually. So it was a really ratty childhood. And so all of the pain and stuff that you hear in her autobiographical albums, it very much reflects the fact that she had a messy, rather junky childhood, even though her family had means. But through her school connections, she found people who could help her with her dream to be a musician. And so, despite her parents' neglect, she went on to be more famous than even they were. And she, again, like I said, blew up overnight. People in her circle had no idea that she was even doing this and kind of resented her a little bit for having such immediate success. And I think that that little seed of seeing that people could not be happy for her, and she attributes that to like a British cultural thing. Like, you can't be happy for other people. You always have to question how they got where they're going, and there's like no excitement or joy for others. That's the way she sees it. If you're British, I'm not putting that on you. That's what she said herself. So that was really hard for her. And then she became increasingly famous, and she put out 2 albums, and she was enormously famous. She was like the face of Chanel, and she was running around doing tours all over the place, and she was living this super hedonistic life because, quite frankly, that was the life that she had seen. That was the life that had been modeled after her. She'd gone to a Catholic school when she was younger. The Catholic school, in her experience, had made her feel very ashamed. And she went into Catholic school having had a mother who lied that says that they were already Catholic. So she was like taking communion and she was taking the Eucharist when she wasn't actually Catholic. And so she felt like she went into the place lying about who she was and then was never able to really recover from that. And of course, her family was very liberal sexually and morally. And so to go into a Catholic school where all of that was condemned, she always felt at odds with who she had been raised to be and who the Catholic said she was. So that really wrecked her for religion. Anyway, she goes from the Catholic school to go to boarding school where she is embracing drugs, alcohol, and boys. And it became all about the adoration of a male. She very much ran after being seen by men. Okay, so she's got her career off the ground. She's living a really wild life. And she decides that this is just not what she wants to do. Like, she has no desire to be a Madonna who is, extremely elderly and still prancing around with hardly any clothes on. She's like, I need to get normal. I want a normal life. She's just done with the wildness, and so she meets a guy named Sam Cooper, normal guy. She's about 24. She's done the pop star thing. So she decides that she's going to have a job with her sister where they get into like auctions and stuff like that. And that's how she's going to make money. She had a whole reality show. You can find it all online. It's all on YouTube. It's called From Riches to Rags. Anyway, that, as you can only imagine, doesn't get off the ground. And as she's married to Sam and she has one child with him who passes away, and then they go on to have 2 other children, the finances are just never coming together. Lily has always had a problem with money. So what is she going to do now? Well, she knows how to sing, and she knows that that's a quick buck. So she goes back on tour. And while she's on tour, she's touring in America as the second show to Miley Cyrus. So she's kind of propping Miley Cyrus up. And this is Miley Cyrus's wild era, where Miley Cyrus is like swinging from wrecking balls. It's a very sexualized tour. Like, that's the whole point. Miley's coming out. I'm not a Disney star anymore. I'm wild. I'm a party girl. And so Lily, who had just had kids, just like stumbled out of motherhood, was probably at her heaviest, felt fat and ugly, and she wasn't used to being the supporting act. And now she feels like she's like the fat supporting act, and so she was embarrassed. And so she turned to a lot of different things to cope. One of the things she turned to was speed, because it helped her lose weight and it helped her stay focused and it helped her go from dawn to dark and not need a rest. And then, of course, the drugs and the alcohol. But something else that she was doing while she was on tour was just generally wilding out in a sexual way. Now, you'll recall that Sam Cooper and the girls are back at home. And she's cheating on Sam with everybody, even paying for sex with female escorts. And all of this came out in this autobiography that she later wrote in 2018 about her life and everything that had happened in her life. And subsequently, she and Sam don't make it, right? Because it's difficult to stay married to a pop star who is sleeping with everybody under the sun, women included, and partying. And, Lily has openly said she was a bad wife and she was a bad mom. She wasn't there for her girls. She definitely wasn't there for Sam. And this partying situation was something she just could not handle. So she goes to rehab. She gets things under control. And then Lily kind of like goes underground. We don't really see much about Lily Allen. When she resurfaces, She has lost a considerable amount of weight. She doesn't even look like the same person anymore. She gets a podcast with her best friend from childhood. They grew up in the same circles. And so she does a podcast and stuff like that, but she's no longer like the Lily Allen fame of, say, 2009, 2010. And she's just like living her life. And she was trying to figure out how to get back in another relationship. Old Sam had found himself a real young girl to marry after things had gone south with he and Lily. And so she felt like she needed to get back on the horse. You know, she can't be left behind. Sam's found himself a young thing. So she doesn't really know exactly where to find someone, because when you are as famous as she's been, even in the past, where do you find a mate? So she goes to Raya, I'm not sure how you say it. It's Raya, and it's a dating website for people who are famous. And you have to have your profile approved. I mean, nobody can just like slide in to go meet celebrities. So she gets on there, and that's where she meets David Harbour, and they have sort of a, whirlwind romance. They fall in love. He's a good bit older than her, and they go out and they're in their scene together, and then they decide that they're going to get married. They get married in Vegas. She wears a Christian Dior dress that she found off the rack at one of the boutiques there. It's sort of this low-key little wedding with her two daughters, and they have in and out afterwards, and it's like a really low-key affair, but probably if you're as famous as they both are and could do whatever, I'm sure they thought it was quirky and fun. So they get married in Vegas, and they go on to live their best life. And over the course of this relationship, it seems like they get on pretty well. But then in 2004, there seemed to be some cracks. And she was saying things on her podcast. It seemed like they weren't doing so good. And then suddenly they were definitely not doing good. And then she was going into rehab for trauma. And then she writes an album. You guys, when I tell you that this album is straight from the pages of her journal with nary a word changed, I have never in all my born days seen something like this. Like, never, ever. We are so accustomed to celebrities falling out with spouses or boyfriends or girlfriends. And if they are a singer or a songwriter, they will pen their pain into their songs. And we're left to be their internet detectives like, what do they mean by this? Could they be referencing so-and-so? What do you think this is? I think this has to do with the time when we saw so-and-so doing such and such, and we're over here just piecing together things and trying to sort out exactly what they're talking about. And it's all very vague. Lily Allen's like, ain't got time for that. I gotta call this guy out. And she does. And so this album, from the beginning to the end, is a trajectory of the downfall of their marriage. From the minute she started to feel like things weren't right and he started undermining her, to the end when she has decided she's going to write an album and really let rip about what happened between the two of them. So we're going to have ourselves a little dramatic reading of this album from start to finish, because I am just going to let Lily tell you how things went between she and David. And it is a real barn burner, let me tell you. So West End is about when she moves to America. They buy a house, they buy brownstone in New York City. And the whole time she's thinking, I don't think that we can afford this. But he continues to push at her. We can, and we're going to get these celebrated designers, and it's going to be this amazing experience. But as soon as she moves to America and they get everything settled, she finds that she has been given a part in a play in England, and she's going to have to fly over there for rehearsals. Well, he's not too happy to hear about this. And while she's over there, he decides that her absence is really too much for him, and he has needs, and they're going to have to be fulfilled. And if she's going to be gone like this, they're going to have some kind of arrangement, because he's already actually slipped. He's already had a little bit of an indiscretion, so they might as well open up the relationship because it's going to be something he needs to do. So let's read that song, shall we? And now we're all here. We've moved to New York. We found a nice little rental near a sweet little school, and I'm looking at houses with 4 or 5 floors. And you found us a brownstone, and you said you want it, it's yours. So we went ahead and we bought it. Found ourselves a good mortgage. Billy Cotton got sorted, and all the furniture was ordered. I could never afford this. You were pushing it forward. It made me feel a bit awkward. Yeah, it made me feel a bit awkward. I walked up the stoop, I put the key in the door, and then my phone started ringing. So I answered the call. And they're like, hey, you got a lead in a play. You got to go back to London for rehearsals in May. And then later that evening, you said, how was my day? I said, I got some good news. I got the lead in a play. And that's when your demeanor started to change. And you said I'd have to audition. Well, I said, you're deranged. And I thought, I thought that was quite strange. I found that strange. And I thought that was quite strange. So very strange. But I ignored it. I went ahead, I bought it, got a flight, and I boarded. And I'm on my way. And now I'm in London. I'm on my own. I'm in a hotel room. I'm on my own. And now I'm a West End girl. And the song ends with what sounds like a FaceTime call. And we don't hear his side of the conversation, only her side of the conversation, in which it would appear that he's telling her, I'm going to need to step out on this relationship. I'm going to need to find myself some release. And she is not happy to hear this, but also doesn't seem like she wants to shame him for his desires. I'll make my comments at the end of this. So she says, this doesn't make me happy to hear this. I would rather, or does this have to be the way it is? But he insists that it is. And so by the end of the call, you can hear she's in tears. He's obviously asked, are you okay? And she brushes it off and says, yeah, I am fine. And then she gets off the phone. But what we're going to find out later on as the songs go on, apparently he had cheated on her. They had not planned on opening up their marriage. He cheated on her. And then he was under the delusion that he would not be able to stay monogamous, that was just too big an ask. And since he cheated on her once, it would be best if they just open up the relationship because he has needs. So then they make an agreement that he can, but he has to pay for it. It has to be strangers. There has to be a transaction. It has to be only sex. It can never be an emotional thing. So the reason that she says he cheated on her, even though it would appear from the first song that they had some kind of arrangement, is that their arrangement was he could but had to pay for it. It couldn't be an emotional bond. So she sees that he moved the goalpost, which is a phrase she'll later use in the album. He moves the goalpost, and now he's saying, well, we had an open marriage, so I don't know what your problem is. Well, the problem is that they had some very shady and shoddy rules about what he could and couldn't do, and he decided he didn't really care about that. Okay, so for the next song, now she's upset, okay? Because now she knows that he's cheated on her, and now he's talking about how he's going to need to step out on a regular basis. And now she's laying there in the bed all the way in London thinking, well, what does this mean? So the next song says, I'm giving up on getting sleep tonight. It's 4 a.m. and I'm in fight or flight. Ruminating, and I can't shake the image of her naked on top of you, and I'm disassociated. And I'm not hateful, but you make me hate her. She gets to sleep next to my medicator. You're mine. And now I'm ruminating. Why can't you wait for me to come home? This conversation's too big for a phone call. Did you kiss her on the lips and look into her eyes? Did you have fun? Now that it's done, baby, won't you just tell me that I'm still your number one? 'Cause you're my number one. I told you all of this has been too brutal. And you told me that you felt the same. It's mutual. And then you came out with this line. So crucial. Well, if it has to happen, baby, do you want to know? If it has to happen, baby, do you want to know? If it has to happen, baby, do you want to know? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But what a line. What a fucking line. Okay, that is crazy. Who says to the person after you just get done cheating on them, if it had to happen, you want to know? If it had to happen? I'm feeling her rage and her indignation. So this next song, after she's done processing that crazy line, if it had to happen, do you want to know? We get a song called Sleepwalking, which apparently these two are going to keep fighting about this issue. It's going to continue to be a thing because he wants to validate his sick existence and she is trying to figure out how to be a modern wife, and modernity would tell her that to ask for monogamy is too evil a thing. That when they said I do, he meant I do intend to sleep with others. And so now she's trying to figure out how she's supposed to emotionally hold on to what she thought this relationship was, but now he's asking for other things, and if she loves him, does she give in to that? So he's just yapping, and she's trying to get through it, and she feels like she's sort of just sleepwalking through her life. So this song says, you won't love me, you won't leave me, You don't touch me, but still so needy. And I don't know if you do it intentionally. Somehow you make it my fault. She just won't stop talking. I'm just sleepwalking. Of course I'm angry. Of course I'm hurt. Looking back at it, it's so absurd because I trusted you and took you at your word. At your word. You said romance isn't dead. Been no romance since we wed. Why aren't we effing, baby? Yeah, that's what you said. But you let me think it was in my head and nothing to do with them girls in your bed. You don't stop talking. And I'm just sleepwalking. I see your thoughts forming, baby. Stop it. It's 3 a.m. And I don't know if you do it intentionally, but somehow you make it my fault. And you don't stop talking. And I'm just sleepwalking. Okay. Well, she's going through an emotional roller coaster, but she doesn't know for sure what exactly is going on. But then she starts getting clues that it's not just in her head. Reality is on the other side of that phone he's always on. And this song, entitled Tennis, goes like this. Daddy's home for the first time in weeks. I got the dinner on the table. I tell the kids it's time to eat. And I made my baby's favorite. But he didn't seem to care. And I just tell myself, he's jet-lagged, and I'm glad to have him here. Then, you showed me a photo on Instagram, and it was how you grabbed your phone back, right out of my hands. So, I read your text, and now I regret it. I can't get my head around how you've been playing tennis. If it was just sex, I wouldn't be jealous. You won't play with me. And who's Madeline? I need to be alone, so I took myself to bed. I got a lot of information, and I can't even process. So I wrote a little email, and I told you what I saw. And then you came up to the bedroom, and you made it my fault. But you moved the goalposts. You've broken the rules. I tried to accommodate, but you took me for a fool. So I read your text, and now I regret it. I can't get my head around how you've been playing tennis. If it was just sex, I wouldn't be jealous. You won't play with me. And who the F is Madeline? Who is Madeline, I ask you? Well, there is a true Madeline, and the girl hasn't even denied it. Apparently, Madeline is a woman named something Tippett. What is her real name? Anyway, a Ms. Tippett, and she was a costume designer on the set of a show he was doing. And so she ain't no stranger. The deal was it had to be a stranger. But Madeline ain't no stranger. So you'll recall that Lily has had a real drug and alcohol problem. And all of this pain is making her want to turn back to the drugs. But of course, she lost everything the first time that she had to go to rehab. And she knows that if she relapses, she's going to lose it all again. But the name of the song is Relapse, and it doesn't say she didn't. And so we start this song out with, I need a drink. I need a Valium. You pushed me this far. The ground has gone beneath me. You pulled the safety net. I moved across the ocean from my family, from my friends. The foundation is shattered. You made a mess. I tried to be your modern wife, but the child in me protests. I need a drink. I need a Valium. You pushed me this far, and I just need to be numb. And if I relapse, I know I stand to lose it all. Can you bring me back when I'm climbing up the walls? But if I relapse, I know I stand to lose it all. I need a drink, I need a drink, I need a drink, I need a drink, I need a drink. And the girls are looking at me to teach them all about love, but I can't seem to hold my shit together long enough. I need a drink, I need a Valium. You pushed me this far and I just need to be numb. Okay, understandable feelings, okay? Madeline is real. We're feeling that we need a drink. We feel like we need a Valium, but then she finds that not only is he texting women, he seems to have a place where he brings these women. Okay, so he's not just getting off sending flirty little texts to people and being inappropriate. Now he is housing these people and doing things with these people at a place that he has designated for just such a purpose. They had a West End apartment, which he had told her was a place where he would go and do martial arts, a dojo. Why do you need to have an apartment and it's a dojo when you could literally go anywhere? There's 1,000 dojos on every corner. It's not like martial arts is some kind of a exercise that nobody else is doing and you've got to carve out your own place for it. So probably she should have been more concerned. But Maybe his excuse was, I'm famous. I need to be able to work out in peace and tranquility and focus without a bunch of people paying attention to me. So that's probably the lie he told her. But things aren't going well between them. So she tells him, hey, you know that West End apartment that you have, the dojo? Why don't you go and stay there? Because you don't belong here anymore. And she told him that she was going to drop off a bunch of his stuff. Now, it would appear from this song that he tried to dissuade her from dropping off his things, but she's already on her way. She's bringing his things, his clothes, his medication, his mail, and she's going to just drop it off. But she's about to find out what the dojo really was. And this song is entitled Pussy Palace. It begins with, don't come home. I don't want you in my bed. Go to the apartment in the West Village instead. I'll drop off your clothes, your mail, your medication. Oh, I'm already on my way. I'm headed to the station. I'm stuck on the F. There's a problem on the line. I couldn't be more stressed. I'm losing my mind. Up to the first floor, key in the front door. Nothing's ever going to be the same anymore. And that's when I realized something don't feel right. I didn't know it was your pussy palace. I always thought it was a dojo. So, am I looking at a sex addict? Talk about a low blow. I didn't know it was your pussy palace. I thought it was a dojo. I found a shoebox full of handwritten letters. Heartbroken women. Wishing you could have been better. Sheets pulled off the bed, strewn all over the floor. Long black hair, probably from the night before. Dwayne Reed bag with the handles tied. Sex toys. Butt plugs. Lube inside. Hundreds of Trojans. You're so fucking broken. How'd I get caught in your double life? And that's when I realized something just don't feel right. I didn't know it was your pussy palace. I always thought it was a dojo. So what am I looking at? A sex addict? Well, this has released the anger in her heart, okay? What is she gonna do now? Okay, this is not good. This ain't good at all. So now she's angry, and now she's lashing out in rage because now she wants to start calling names, all right? And I don't blame her. She writes a song called 4chan Stan. Okay, now if you don't know what that means, and if you do, bear with me. Stan is slang for somebody who's like obsessed about something. And this comes from a song that Eminem wrote about a stalker he had named Stan who was obsessed with him. So if you call somebody Stan, it means you're an obsessive. And 4chan Stan means that you're obsessed with like the dark parts of the internet, like the sickness on the internet, and you're like obsessed about it. Okay, so she calls him a 4chan Stan. After she goes and sees what's really going on at the West Village apartment, and it ain't no dojo, she starts feeling like she needs to go through all of his things. And so that leads her to going through his bedside table. And she writes in 4chan Stan, I went through your bedside drawer, and you know, I've never been inclined to do that before. I've never been to Bergdorf's, but you took someone shopping there in May 24. Bought her a handbag. Wasn't cheap. I was in London, probably asleep. And did you go to Montauk for the weekend? And was there an encore? Did it pay dividends? Why won't you tell me what her name is? I mean, this is outrageous. What, is she famous? Say that it's over. What do you mean, it's a hiatus? Why won't you tell me? What a sad, sad man. It's really giving 4chan Stan. What are you so scared of? You think I'm going to contact her and tell her what for? Gonna get divorced? It's a marriage of convenience, and it's how you adore. I think that you're sinking. You're protecting a lie. And you don't want her to think that you cheat on your wife because you're such a coward. You can't tell the truth. You love all the power. But you're not even cute, though. No. Why won't you just tell me what her name is? I mean, this is outrageous. What? Is she famous? Sad man. Sad man. It's giving 4chan Stan. She's had her bouts of anger and rage. She wants to hurt him like he's hurt her. Because now she's finding all this junk that belongs to him. Receipts. Proof that he's been places while she was away. Proof that he did not stick to their agreement. So she goes from angry, but then she also goes to sad, trying to explain to him, like, I was trying to be what you wanted me to be. I was trying to be this modern wife, this person who could embrace non-monogamy. And so she writes a song called Non-Monogamy. basically like you just want this mom who will be there to take care of you. But you don't really want me. And so she writes a song that says, I don't want to F with anyone else. I know that's all you want to do. I'm so committed that I'd lose myself because I don't want to lose you. I changed my immigration status for you to treat me like a stranger. Why do I feel like such a failure? Life with you looked good on paper. I love you. I've been trying to be open. I just want to meet your needs, and for some reason I revert to people pleasing. I'll be your non-monogamy. I'm just trying to be open. We fell in love. I landed on my feet. I was the cat that got the cream. We built a palace on the perfect street. You really sold me on a dream. And now I'm looking at my Tinder. Well, maybe I'm more of a hinger. He wants to take me out for dinner. Hope he looks better than his picture. I've been trying to be open. I just want to meet your needs. And for some reason, I revert to people pleasing. I'll be your non-monogamy. I'm just trying to be open. I mean, this is depressing. I just can't believe how he did this to her. I mean, but, okay, I gotta save my comments for the end because we're trying to read our story here. I don't need to interject myself. Okay, so she's going from anger to trying to placate him, back to the anger, and she writes this one song, and honestly, most of the songs on this album musically aren't great. I did like this song called Just Enough. It's kind of like a really sort of sad, like yearning kind of song. And it made me feel really sorry for her. Because on the one hand, this whole thing is like, if you weren't feeling any of it, the whole thing's like crazy mockable. But when like a person's pain is put to music, you can feel how badly they feel. And so like, I'm like reading all these lyrics and everything. Oh, this is crazy. But if you listen to this song, not just reading the lyrics, but you actually go listen to the song, like it really is very sad. She writes a song that's called Just Enough, and she says, I think you're in love with somebody else. I felt you pull away, and now I'm blaming myself. You keep me in the dark. Tell yourself it's kind. Protect me from the pain. Meanwhile, I'm losing my mind. Look at my reflection. I feel so drawn and old. I booked myself a facelift, wondering how long it might hold. I gave you all my power, how I'm seen through your eyes. But you just give me enough hope to hold on to nothing. You just give me enough hope to hold on to nothing. Did you fall in love with someone who isn't me? Why are we talking about vasectomies? Did you get someone pregnant? Someone who isn't me? Did you take her to the clinic? Did you hold her hand? Is she having your babies? But you just give me enough. Enough hope to hold on to nothing. She can't stay too sad because she's got work to do. Okay, so she's like, okay, I'm going to figure out who it is that he's screwing around with. So she decides, and this is like real life. This isn't just like something she made up for the album. In her pursuit to find the answers, she gets back on Rhea, where she had first met David, and she creates a profile for herself, and she names herself Dallas Major. And she says on there, yeah, I'm just looking for fun or whatever. And so what she's really trying to do is find out what girls David's looking at, and then trying to cross-reference them with his Instagram so she can see if he knows these people in real life and across real time. I don't really totally see how that works. Everyone's like, oh, she's so brilliant. I don't really get it. Like, couldn't you just look at his Instagram to see who he's talking to? Like, maybe you don't know what's in his DMs, but like you can see what he's liking and stuff like that. Like, did you need to get on the dating app in order to see what he's doing on Instagram? I don't see how those two things are related. Regardless, that's what people say. Okay, so she gets on and she calls herself Dallas Major. And so then she writes a song about that profile that she made. And it says, my name is Dallas Major, and I'm coming out to play. I'm looking for someone to have fun with while my husband works away, and I'm almost nearly 40. I'm just shy of 5'2". I'm a mom of teenage children. Does that sound fun to you? Because I hate it here. I hate it. I hate it. So I go by Dallas Major, but that's not really my name. I used to be quite famous. That was way back in the day, but I'm here for validation and probably should explain how my marriage has been open since my husband went astray. And I hate it here. I hate it. So she is really thrashing around, grasping for straws at this point, trying to find ways to find out more about what's going on so she can just get some answers, because apparently David was really holding out on her. And then she writes a song called Beg for Me, where she's basically asking him to want her. And to be sorry for what he's done. Because that's the other thing that she's really offended by. Like, he doesn't even seem to understand that he's done a lot of very painful things to her. He's very closed off and like, what? Like, what's your problem? Like, why are you making a mountain out of a molehill? So I slept with somebody. Like, you already said I could. And she's outraged, obviously, because the boundaries in her mind were very clear. It had to be paid for. It had to be with a stranger. And he just blew past that and just, well, I guess I can have sex. It's an open marriage. So she wants him to be sorry. And so she writes a song called Beg for Me. And she says, I feel embarrassed. I feel ashamed. You're so indifferent. And that's insane. Where's all your empathy for my pain? My friends all tell me that you're deranged. I want to feel held. I want to be told I'm special and I'm unusual. I want your desire. I want to be spoiled. I want to be told I'm beautiful. Why won't you beg? Beg for me. Why won't you beg? If you want me to stay, love endlessly. If you want me to stay, you want me to stay, I'll never leave you. So she goes on basically rehashing that over and over, that she feels embarrassed, but she does want him to be sorry. She wants him to, like, you know, I'm so sorry that I did this to you. I'm so sorry, like, please stay. But he's just kind of like, I did it. And you are kind of crashing out over nothing. And he's being very cold to her. So she's feeling frantic, like, give me just something. Like, she wants to stay. She's not looking to burn it all down. Well, she wasn't then. But then she decided, you know what? I'm really over it. I've debased myself for your attention. I begged you to want me. You clearly don't. You aren't sorry for what you've done. So then she decides that she is not going to cover for him anymore. And that everyone thought that David Harbour was a nice guy, but she's about to burn it all down. And she's taken this moment to decide she'll write an album in which she cracks open who he truly is. Because she's tired of him hiding behind this good reputation when she knows better and she's been hurt by who he really is. So she writes a song entitled Let You In. And she says, I've become invisible, stuck here in my palace. I'm so effing miserable in my rabbit hole. Yep, I'm Alice, and I'm expected to be nice, picking up the pieces. What's your sacrifice? I'm protecting you from your secrets. Don't tell the children. The truth would be brutal. Your reputation's unstained. God knows how long you've been getting away with it. Already let you in. All I can do is sing, so why should I let you win? I will not absorb your shame. It's you who put me through this. I could tell myself you've changed, do it all again, be deluded, never get your sympathy. I don't think you're able. But I could walk out with my dignity if I lay my truth on the table. Lie to the children, the ending was mutual. I'll shoulder all the pain. I'm sick of carrying, suffering for your sins. Already let you in. So why should I let you win? You've taken everything. And that is where she is when she decides to write this scathing last number to end the album. A song entitled Fruity Loop, in which she does not mince words. And Lily says, you're just a little boy looking for his mummy. Things have gotten complicated, what with all the fame and the money. Playing with his toys. He just wants attention. He can't really do attachment. Scared he's going to be abandoned. And finally I see. It's not me. It's you. It's what you've always done. It's what you'll always do. Forever. Till you die. It's true. It's not me. It's you. And there's nothing I could do. You're stuck inside your Fruity Loop. I'm just a little girl looking for her daddy. And I thought we could break the cycle. Thought that I could keep you happy. It is what it is. You're a mess. I'm a bitch. Wish I could fix all your shit, but all your shit's yours to fix. 'Cause it's not me. It's you. It's what you've always done. It's what you'll do forever till you die. It's true. It's not me. It's you. And there's nothing I could do. You're stuck inside your Fruity Loop. There's nothing I could do. You're stuck inside your Fruity Loop. So it's scathing. Scathing, burning. Literally the entire story of the demise is stretched out for us to see. And what I think about this entire thing is that on the one hand, it is a little strange that she's so, well, not strange that she's hurt, because in her mind she thought that they had an agreement. And as somebody who in the past herself had paid for sex when she was on tours and stuff, I think to tell herself, it's just that I had these urges and I didn't really cheat because I paid for it. So it was a transaction, which means there wasn't love involved, which means I was just having my carnal needs desired, but I wasn't cheating on my spouse. I think she herself had tried to use that before, when she was married to Sam Cooper. And it seems to me that having had one marriage dissolve under those same moral structures, you would be aware by this point that those moral structures actually don't work out in real life. So it is a little bit difficult to see how she thought this would work going forward, but she's really upset. And this is why it just doesn't, non-monogamy relationships are doomed to fail. Because it doesn't matter what kind of like moral scaffolding you try to create in order for you to get to do what you want to do. When everyone's kind of got their own moral rules, and instead of like an agreed upon, this is what we're doing, you don't know where you stand. You don't know what you're supposed to do. Because in David's mind, sex is sex. Now, I think he knew full well what he had done is wrong. Nobody could like have a spouse tell them very strictly, you must have it with a stranger and money must be exchanged in order for you to receive this act, and then go on and have a relationship with somebody on set. Like, it seems like even David could figure out that we got problems here. But if you are with somebody who tells you, well, if it's going to happen, do you want to know? If it's going to happen? Like, as soon as the person says that, I'm not making any arrangements with you. I'm not helping you cope with your problems in a way that is exclusive of therapy. Like, if you feel like you can't live life without stepping out on me, I don't give you a way to do that. No, because when I married you under the auspice, under the understanding that we were only doing it with each other. So it's not like she went and got married in Vegas and he said, I do expect you to accept that I will need prostitutes throughout our marriage. That wasn't what she said yes to. So for him to now throw it on her, well, I cheated on you, but since I am going to cheat on you, how can we arrange for you to feel okay about that? And then she threw out this ratty little idea that, well, I guess you could pay for it. You know, I guess you could pay for the abuse of another human soul. I guess I'll have to make my peace with that. So it's like super, like, what a spotlight this is shining on the fact that when we decide to go our own way in life, when we decide that we're going to disavow tradition because we don't want constraints, we want to be modern people. Well, but modernity is so much more hurtful than the respect that is handed to you as your birthright, being a child of God. But also God's like, hey, live your life in these constraints. Not because I'm trying to say that you can't have any fun, not because I'm the fun police, but because this fun over here is going to destroy your soul. And Lily Allen has had a history of hedonism in her life, and she's consistently tried to find like ways to handle the crazy. Like, I mean, way back in 2016, she had like gotten rid of her, like, no internet in her house. Like, she was done. She didn't want a phone anymore. She didn't want the internet in her house anymore. And she's done that consistently. And she just like relies on assistants and stuff to tell her what's going on in the world because it's hard for her. And she's like had time, like pockets and stuff of like being back online and being like, whoa, I can't. So she like is constantly trying to put boundaries on her life. Obviously she went to rehab, like, you know, can't be doing drugs and alcohol and call myself a mom. Even the fact that she stopped touring because she's like, people say you can have it all, but I can't be a mom and be a pop star. Those two things actually don't coexist together. So I'm going to go be a mom. And she has consistently tried to like rearrange for herself a world that has rules and laws in order to keep her sanity. But at the same time, she doesn't want to align with any kind of religious moralism because she didn't like Catholic school. And so there's like a rejection of moral constructs that are already in place because I don't want somebody else to tell me what to do. I want to do what I want to do. I do recognize I need moral boundaries, but I don't want your moral boundaries. So she's over there like trying to construct her own little world. Meanwhile, husband's over there constructing his little world and never will never will the twain meet, because they're just two ships passing in the night trying to figure out how to live a life where they can protect their soul. But if you're married to somebody who has the dojo that's really his pussy palace, and he's over there with bags full of Trojans and sex toys and lube and all kinds of foolishness, you guys are never going to be able to have the same social construct, because that clearly wasn't, that went completely against what you were into. David Harbour, I feel like all we have to do is look into his eyes. I mean, if those aren't the eyes of a predator, what are? That disgusting beard that looks like, you guys, I'm going to say it. His face looks like one of those grizzly roadkill panties. His face looks like Markin. I hate everything about the way he chooses to do his beard. Gross. And you know what? I am a huge fan of beards. I really am, but not that beard. He clearly misrepresented himself when he met Lily Allen. But then again, I don't know what the two of them are into together. Like, was she, because she's had her own life wild and out, okay? She's been into women. She's been into men. I'm blanking on the name of the actress. Her last name's Kravitz, but she says that Lily attacked her, and like sexually aggressively attacked her, and that she wrote about it in the book as though it was mutual, but it was not, you know? And so maybe Lily presented herself to David as somebody who was like really open to things. There was one song, I don't know why I didn't see these lyrics, although I might not have read them, but there's one point in one of those songs where she says, I don't want you going and looking for somebody else to fulfill your fantasies. I'll do it for you. Like, I'll do it. I don't want to be the perfect little Lily White. Like, what you want, I'll do. She's saying that now, but on her own podcast, she had started talking when things were like getting really ugly with David. She had said that he'd made requests in the bedroom to her that she did not want to do, which is pretty interesting because she'd done a lot. She'd experienced a lot. So for him to bringing things to her that even she was like kinky, no. And he finding that offensive, and then needing apparently to step out on the relationship to find people who would fulfill his fantasies with him and for him. Now she's writing songs where she's basically saying, I don't want to be your Madonna. I want to be your whore, and I want to do the things that you want to do. But I think that those lyrics were in the song where she's kind of like basically begging him, like, I want you to want me type of thing. And I want you to want to stay. And I feel like she's, even in those lyrics, not necessarily really wanting that. Because nobody wants to be anybody's whore. You're willing to accommodate what your spouse wants to do within reason. But I don't think anybody wants to be treated like they have no worth, because that's what a whore is. It's something that you use. It's someone you use up, and then it's someone you discard. After you pay them, please leave. You know, that's the definition of a whore. So I don't think anybody actually wants to be treated like that, but I know what she's saying. I want to be the person to fulfill your needs. Please don't look elsewhere. But I don't think that, I mean, David seems like he was really into some weird stuff. And if it was even too wild for Lily, who's done a lot of things, it just makes me wonder what he was asking for. I actually don't want to wonder, but let's leave it there. He was asking for some stuff that made her go, yuck. And it's really sad. But what do we think about her writing this whole album? Wow, this is a really long video. I need to wrap this up. What do we think about her writing an album in which she is essentially exposing all this stuff about the person who her kids seem to have called daddy? Because she in the song says, daddy's home, come on kids, come to the table. It's like, were they calling you daddy? But he talks about them like they're his kids. Like, he would consistently speak about the girls as like, I didn't never think I wanted kids, but now I have 2 kids and it's great, and la 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 la. It seems to me like he embraced fatherhood and the responsibilities that came, like putting a roof over his new wife's head and the head of her kids. And, you know, I mean, they both talked about him as though he was like the girl's dad, effectively, whenever he was around. So now so it's not like he was just this boyfriend where things fell out and the kids didn't know him. Like, they'd moved across to another country to live in their stepdad's new country. He's always talking to them about his kids, my girls. So for her to write this whole album, I know her goal was, I'm not willing that he should stand behind the shield of like my shame that this marriage hasn't worked. I'm not willing to continue to uphold this reputation that you have publicly. I'm going to blow the roof off of this because you hurt me and I'm not going to shield. These are your mistakes. You did this. Like, why should I bear the pain and the shame? And I get that sentiment. But I also just wonder, like, I don't know, like, do you write a whole album where your kids who are teens now are going to hear it? Like, do they need to hear about your experience over at the Pussy Palace? You know what I'm saying? Like, do they need to find about the bag full of all kinds of interesting articles? I think I would have made a different choice. I don't think she has to protect him. I'm not saying protect this person. Because again, his choices are his own. He chose to step out. He chose to have an apartment and tell her it was one thing when it was another. He chose to consistently, throughout their entire relationship, play in her face, saying, "Yeah, I'll just pay for it. It'll be a stranger." And then really, he's like got full blown relationships going. So, what do you guys think? It's a bold choice to make an album about this. In some ways, it's nice not having to try to piece it together. She tells us from start to finish what actually happened. And do you think that she allowed David to hurt her so extensively because she was living with residual guilt from things she had done to Sam? So did she think, well, I just have to take it? You know, one time I cheated on Sam. So I'm just going to have to swallow what was done to me. And I'm going to have to make it right. And he did tell me that he did it. And now he's saying he wants an arrangement. I don't like it. But one time I paid for sex, so maybe if he pays for sex, I mean, I did it one time too, so I guess I have to accept if that's what he wants to do. Do you think that she was letting her past indiscretions influence the way she allowed somebody to treat her because she thought she deserved it, since that's something that she had done in the past? For the record, I understand the logic of that, but that's not truth. If you did something that was bad in the past, you don't actually have to accept that from somebody else. It doesn't equal out the scales. So if you think it's going to somehow make it better what you did if you allow somebody to do that to you, it doesn't. That's bad math. That's bad moral math. So don't do that. But what are your thoughts? What are all of your thoughts about all of this? And which of the songs do you think was the weirdest? I think Pussy Palace kind of blew my socks off. Well, this was a long episode. Thanks for hanging in there with me. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. My goal is to finish the Virginia Giuffre books tonight and talk to you guys about that book tomorrow. Fingers crossed. If not, we'll talk about something else. All right. See you soon. Bye.